Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to the second installment of Consultants in Carhartts. Actually got the Carhartts this time, drinking coffee. It is Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. I've had COVID for the last couple of weeks. Sorry, I've been out of commission. This is an opportunity, I think, for us to get back in contact and move along again. The issue that I would like to talk with you guys about today is one that is stinging a couple of my clients right at the moment, and it's incredibly frustrating. I have another new client that's headed down the path, and we're hoping to address these issues before they happen. So we'll see how we do with that, and I'll keep you guys up to speed on how that process works. The frustrating thing is when we have a team, and I know you guys have all experienced this, you have a team that puts the philosophies, methodologies, and tools of lean to work. They get some great results. You're stepping back at that point and you're thinking, okay, these guys got it. I mean, it has to feel so good to them to have a project going incredibly well compared to all the other projects they've had previously going incredibly poorly and being incredibly frustrating, right? So all of a sudden you've got these guys headed down this path, they get a few weeks in and they begin to drop the process. Now, if we don't catch it quickly, then they will drop that process so far, it's hard to recover. And then when you talk to them and you ask them, well, guys, why did you drop the process? I mean, it was clearly going really well. And I'll get interesting feedback, and you guys probably have had your own interesting feedback along these lines, but what I'll get is, well, you know, it was going so good, we just thought, why, you know, the job's going so good, why follow that process again? Why follow the rigors of that process when everything's just going so good? Why don't we just, go with it and relax and enjoy the process? And you can ask them then, well, can you see that not following the process is what caused everything to tumble? And they don't really see it well at first. If we go through a process at that time to recover and get back there, and we really talk about it as we go through that process, people will grasp it. So this is an interesting phenomenon, but it's a real one. It's one I've had to deal with many times and I'm having to deal with right now in real life. So what we are going to do is we are going to face this issue as an executive team with one of my clients local here in Seattle. Now here's one of the big things that we have to deal with. We had a guy yesterday in a peer review meeting, so we're creating new processes. We're bringing it to the company and letting all the peers inside the company look at the process, see what we've missed, see what we did right, get it zeroed in. During this peer review, one of the superintendents said, if my trades will not put the proper detail up on the Post-its, then this process doesn't work. And we realized at that time that this particular person, in his tool belt, his management tool belt, he had one choice, and that is to ask the trades to do something, and they either did or didn't. And that's it. That was his tool, was to ask. Now we've got another superintendent that works inside that same company, and he's quite different. He takes a photograph of the 6-week look ahead every day before the project starts, before the day starts, and he goes to each one of those places, and if that trade doesn't have the team in that spot prepared to do the work that they're supposed to do that day, he walks over, grabs them, brings them over and says, you're not where you're supposed to be, stop doing what you're doing, come over here, get started here. And if that trade foreman says, well, I can't because of this, he says, okay, hang on, let me get that solved for you. Now get your guys over here, get going. Right? That's what he does every day, multiple times every day. I asked him yesterday during the peer review if he still does that every day, and does he still find every single day several items that need to be solved so people can meet the plan that they're supposed to be meeting throughout the day based on our 6-week look ahead. And he said every day, multiple times. That's what it takes if you want the process to work correctly. So you look at that, you get this one guy inside the same organization, one guy, basically because of his personality and his management skill that he's developed over time, he's able to do that with the trades. This manager, same position, doing the same job, His tool belt is simply, I ask, they do it, or they refuse, and then I'm done. And I did the best I could, and they said no, and the process didn't work. So that's one of the things we're going to start working with this particular client. We're going to talk about getting the right tools in the tool belt for people so they can use their own personality, right? Because it won't work for him to try to behave like this guy. I already know that, and you guys know that too. However, his personality will allow him many other options, and we need to get to work on figuring out what those options are. The reason I'm focusing on this stuff is because of the theory of constraints, right? Or in construction, the critical path, however you want to say it. At the moment, one of the things that we're finding that is having a tremendous effect on the success of the lean process inside that organization is the ability to, and Chris Hager, thank you very much for this line this morning. This is absolutely a brilliant way to put something that people are struggling to get into words, and that is to hold everyone to the same standard. I love that sentence, to hold everyone to the same standard. Now look, regardless of whether that superintendent has this guy's personality, that's one thing, and we can work with that. However, he still has to perform at the same standard that this gentleman is performing at. We need to be able to rely on an outcome. If we follow a process that is going to end with that outcome, we all can relax and have a much better day, morale comes way up, all the things that happen around that, right? If that person can't do that, then there's incredible stress because he's crossing his fingers that the people say, sure, we'll do it, come on, we'll support you. And if he don't, he's in real trouble, and the rest of us are hoping that he can do that because our processes aren't going to work if his aren't going to work, right? The whole thing has to work together. So we have to all be held to the same standards. But there's lots of strategies around how to do that, right? And that's what this team's going to start working on next, and we're going to get our arms around this. I'm going to keep you guys up to speed on how this goes. But those two issues, having a team go on for a few weeks, then begin to fall apart, how are we going to address that and be in front of it? Not catch it a week after it begins to happen. How are we going to be in front of it so it doesn't happen? And then down here, managing all the detailed processes that support that, how are we going to make sure that they're all happening? No matter what, they have to happen. Whatever the methods are that we come up with, they have to happen so we can have the outcomes that we know we get when we follow all these processes. Okay, so that's my message today. I hope you guys are feeling well. The COVID wasn't too bad. It was kind of like a bad cold or a mild flu, but it did really knock me out for a couple of weeks. So hopefully you guys either are not going to get it, or if you do, get it in a very mild form. And I will talk with you guys again soon. Thank you very much.